Before we get to that one, I just want to say like the first thing that I think people do wrong within working with AI is they don't just talk to AI like it's a human. So I would really just caution or advise people just let go of your fears around prompting, around creating the perfect prompt, around like there's so much anxiety around, well, if I don't say the exact right words, and this won't be any good. So let's put that to the side. And then in May of 2023, this is what I did to get started. You are a university professor teaching a 12-week course and I did React, Go, and some JavaScript and Python for the product that I built. And so I went through each one of those languages and said, please write first the syllabus and then begin your first lesson. And so as you can see here, I've asked it to teach us about React Native. And throughout this presentation, this is the way that we'll be seeing everything from here on. I just recorded myself actually interacting with AI to do the things that we want to do. So here I've asked it to teach us a 12-week course. I apparently don't know how to copy and paste very well, so I'll struggle with this for just a little second. But now it's going to get started and it's going to teach us that first lesson in how to use React Native. What is it for? It was developed by Facebook, yada, yada, yada. And it's going to go through step by step all of the major key components of the things that I need to understand about this particular programming language. Now, this could be anything, right? So I in this presentation have focused on a React Native use case, but you could be using Cursor or Copilot or Replit or any one of the like amazing new technologies that are a bit more open source. They're a lot cheaper than the traditional offerings, Lovable, Vercel, Supabase, etc. And you could be asking it these same sort of questions. If it doesn't know something, you can just grab the product documentation from online, give it to it, and then ask it to teach you a wonderful lesson in how to do things. And if it's not doing what you want, look at what I'm typing right now. Please focus more on core concepts and less of the code. I actually want you to explain the language to me rather than just showing me examples of code, right? So this is how I got started. I learned everything pretty much that I know about Python from this exact process right here. And this is about the only time I'm going to give you a real solid prompt. You're a university professor teaching a 12-week course. So from here, I just wanted to like spend a second because I know we're going to get questions like, hey, do I need an OpenAI Pro account? Should I use GPT-4o or O1 or Claude or Gemini? And I just wanted to like show you on the screen real quick. Like this is me running DeepSeek on my computer locally without using any sort of subscription. And it's just going through and it's thinking about the particular things that I've asked it in this question. So no matter which foundational model you choose to engage with, you're going to be okay. I guess is the point of the matter. So for this presentation, we're going to dive into a real world example because I think that's easier and better to follow along with than just talking about things in abstract. And so I already showed you, I asked about React Native. We're going to build a mobile phone app for a fitness product that we want to launch. It was the first of the year when I was putting together this presentation. Everybody's got new year, new you sort of like mentalities going on, right? So for the remainder of what we do, we're going to be focusing on this fitness application together. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is just understand how to start development, right? Before you can even get started, you need to understand, how do I set up my computer to be able to do coding, right? And so if you're using Replit, then it does a lot of the things that we're looking at right here. It does it for you, and it's a great way to get started a little bit faster. But what we're seeing on the screen are for this particular set of challenges that I've given the AI to help us with, what are the packages and products that can help us speed this process along? So on the left side, I said npm I Redux. That's pretty much the extent that you have to type in order to get really complex software packages installed on your computer so that you can then use them to do really intense and cool things with later on. So Redux is for state management within React. And so, if you don't if you don't know something as you're going through, then you can do what I just did here, which is, why would you use reanimated? What is this for? I don't understand it. Give it to give you a little bit more information, or if it gives you three different potential ways to do animation or transitions or whatever, you can ask it for explaining to give it more explanation about what's the difference between this or that, etc. And so here on the right hand side again, I've said, okay, hey, I want to understand what things that I need to do to get started. And it's starting from the very beginning. So I need Homebrew first. And then I need Node installed. And then I need NPM. And this is just to be able to start installing the other packages, etc. So all you have to do is copy brew install open JDK, paste it into your terminal, and then that's how you get started. If that seemed like it was over your head, no problem. Just ask the AI to explain it to you more. Right? You don't have to be stressed out and know everything. You just have to be able to read what it's saying and get started, right? So I throughout this presentation, I spend much longer actually engaging with the AI than we have time to talk through today. So at the end, I'm going to give you a little QR code throw on the screen for anybody that wants to go back and look at this presentation itself and watch the videos longer. So some of them are like 20 minutes long. We don't have time to go through all of that. We're going to move on right now. But just so you know, you can watch the videos later on if you so choose. So
Yeah.
otherwise, go ahead,
I
John.
was just going to say, because I noticed in your prompts that you literally are typing in how you would talk to a human, and that's one of the key takeaways, right? Because I get the sense with some of our founders who are from a non-technical perspective, again, I think people tend to get caught up on how to write the right prompts. Short of writing a prompt that says, "Hey, build me a fitness app," like how do they start thinking about, breaking out the different chunks to utilize, these AI tools to start to, attack it from different, I guess, groups or blocks, if you will, for lack of a better term. And it sounds like if the main thing is just to talk to the AI like a human and have it explain it to you. Is that the main takeaway?
Yeah. I mean, certainly for these first couple of slides in the presentation, right? I just really want to encourage you. You have a partner to help you through every single one of these steps. You don't have to know yourself how to do any one of these things. And so, like, one of the things that was really confusing for me initially was, how do I structure all the files within this project within directories to make sure that it works properly? Like, I didn't know how to do any of that stuff before I got started. And all I have to do is talk like a human to it, and it will then react, like, give you perfectly logical and sensible things back. So, hey, you had me install VS Code. Can you explain to me the directory structure my app will take? I don't know how to organize the files properly.
Mm.
Cool. Here's how it would suggest. First, you're going to have this folder. It's going to be Android, iOS. Then you're going to have an assets folder, an SRC folder, a source folder. And it actually organizes for you all of the files. And one of the things that's great about doing this is it's going to teach you, hey, there's a package.json file, and there's a Babel file, and a Tailwind file that you're going to need to have to be able to make this work. And it will then give you like clues, like, hey, I have to go figure out what's a Tailwind file. I need to like figure out what are the base things that go in a metroconfig.js file, etc. Right? So AI is there to help you all the way through it. One thing that I'll say before we keep going is I really encourage people to trash their chats as often as possible. And that means delete what you're currently working on and start a new chat. And the reason that I say this is, like, the visual on the screen, it's like an invisible hand grabs a little bit of the blanket in the middle of your bed and starts pulling it up. So the more you interact with the chat, the AI is focusing in on one particular region of knowledge, and it goes deeper and deeper into that set of knowledge. And what can happen is, if you try and then zoom back out later on within the same chat and ask it a bigger question, it can often get kind of confused, or like what I call here getting lost in the folds, because you've focused in on just the core concepts that you've been talking about, and you can often like kind of forget some important things, or like the AI gets too lost in the context of what it's trying to engage with you about. So I would really encourage you, and you'll see it throughout the remainder of the presentation. I start doing something for a little while, I stop, I delete the chat, I start a new chat, and then I continue along with the thing that I was doing. So if you still don't get it after all of that, it's no problem, right? A lot of people are non-technical. You don't understand why React has something called a hook, right? And I didn't know what hooks were for. And this is literally how I learned how to utilize the different hooks within React. This first little set is not all that interesting, but the part on the left, I don't understand this. Can you explain it to me and use a metaphor for me like I'm in high school? Or can you teach it to me like you would teach your grandmother? Like these kind of things where it's like trying to say, like, hey, I don't get it. Can you help me understand it better? And then I love what it does. Like, so here it's giving me a basketball metaphor. Use status for keeping track of, use effect is for making things happen, use context as the team strategy, use ref as like a stopwatch, use reducer as for managing player substitutions on and off the court. Use memos for how you calculate things that don't change very much, like shooting percentages, callbacks for specific plays, etc. And it goes through each one of them. It gives you an example of how it works, and it gives you a little bit more context around the metaphor so that you can take concepts that are really hard and confusing and make them easier to understand. Use ideas like the jersey numbers. Like I love that as an example, right? And so I guess the point I want to really make throughout all of this is that the only hurdle to achieving your goals is your own desire to do it, right? There is a force here that can help you figure out all the things that you need to learn.
Mm.
But AI doesn't replace your brain, y'all. You still have to understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish and how you're trying to accomplish it. Otherwise, you just won't write good code at the end of the day, right? And this is a learning process. You'll get better and better the longer that you engage with AI to write code. You'll understand the things that it's doing a lot better and a lot smarter. And P.S. All of the images throughout this were created in Midjourney, another AI image creation product. So, okay, that's the basics, right? So we understand how to install the code packages on our computer. We now understand how to learn more about the things that we're doing. Now that we've got all of the things that we need on our computer to be able to like for our mobile phone app, we need to be able to access the health data that's on our phone, the gyroscope, so that we can understand, hey, somebody's working out, how is the phone moving during this workout, and tap into those great resources.